Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement. And as we talk about this idea of navigating your way to a worry-free retirement, we thought it might be helpful to come up to what we think are our top 10 items that are going to come up that you're going to have to navigate through. And hopefully you will consider Tony Walker Financial as the person or persons that are going to chart the course for you and help this thing be a worry-free journey. The first thing we got to consider is when to roll over your 401k. One of the biggest decisions you're ever going to make. It's probably most of our clients, it's their biggest asset, and they're getting ready to hand that over to somebody that they're going to have to trust, not just when they retire. Here's the mistake most people make. They get all tantalized and get into this stuff, and then somebody throws a good sales pitch and they roll it over, and then 2 years later they don't know what the heck's going on. That's because they didn't have a game plan. So we are encouraging the following people to consider talking to us before rolling that 401k over to just anybody. Number one, if you're over the age of 59 and a half, even if you're still working, most of the employer plans out there will allow that 401k to be rolled over to an individual IRA with a firm like us. We are set up to do that. Mr. Craig Davis, if you're interested, we can do eligibility calls, we can look into that, and then we can meet to see if it's appropriate for you. Also, someone who's had an old 401k of at least $50,000 or more with a previous employer. So maybe you've already changed jobs. Had a gentleman come in the other day, he had a couple $100,000 at his old employer. They're not doing anything for him. He needs a game plan. So he's going to roll that 401k over to us. Again, there's no cost, no taxes. We'll handle all of it. And then finally, when we're talking about basically 401k plans, that ties in a lot of times to when you want to retire. So many people come to me and they are just scared to death. This idea of going from making a paycheck all their life and now they're going to retire and somehow figure out how to turn that 401k into a paycheck they can never outlive, pretty daunting task. There's taxes, fees, there's the fear of running out of money, there's the required minimum distribution at age 73. There's all these things you have to consider that will affect when you can retire, and we are well equipped at Tony Walker Financial to help navigate that for you. Number three, pension elections. I know most of you don't have pensions anymore, but this is something you need to consider. If you do have a pension available, lump sum, or you're trying to figure out how to take it as what's called an annuity, we can help you think through that. So again, if you have a pension election, before you make that election, we're happy to help. Income planning. There's a lot of talk about income planning. Most people really have not got a lot of experience in income planning. I've personally overseen more than 5,000 written income plans. Folks, we know this world very well. We have an income planning department led by Lisa Allerkamp. That's all she does with her department. We can get those income plans taken care of right away. And if you're a client, if you have changes down the road, we're there to help assist in amending or changing those income plans if it warrants. Whether or not to pay off debt, this is a biggie, whether it's a home, high interest debt, and then if you're going to take money out of a tax-infested 401k to pay off debt, how much is that going to cost? Is it better to keep the debt versus the taxes? We know this world very well. We can help you figure out what debt to pay off and where to get that money from to do it. I love this, Social Security benefit election. Guys, just Google for the fun of it, when to take Social Security. Talking about a lot of different opinions. Folks, there is no way to know when to take Social Security until you first have somebody examine your personal circumstances and get the game plan. I can't emphasize that enough. You got to have the game plan before making that call. Insurance in retirement, a huge issue. Medicare issues, Medicare supplements. Do you want to get a long-term care insurance policy? Do some of these annuities and life insurance policies provide protection for long-term care? Many, many issues to come across. And in fact, these are issues that I usually turn over to my favorite son-in-law who's in charge of that department. So right now we're going to go to Trey Jurgens to talk more about the insurance issues and long-term care concerns in retirement.
Yeah, so when it comes to insurance and retirement, it really kind of boils down to life insurance, long-term care insurance, and health insurance, primarily Medicare. With us, of course, we do life insurance. That's making decisions on new policies that you might want to protect against some debts or lost income, whether it's keeping life insurance that you had from your employer. Long-term care insurance, whether it's something you had from an employer or a new policy. They're not as easy to get as they were maybe 10 years ago, but we can come up with quotes on those as well. Lastly, with private health insurance, if you're under the age of 65, we can assist in the income planning to help make sure that you're eligible for subsidies to keep those costs down. When you're over 65, of course, we've got great resources to help with Medicare supplements. If you do have some questions or want to look into insurance, we've got a really great resource, Insurance Made Easy booklet. It's available on the website, or you can order a hard copy.
Next year, you're going to have to navigate at some point. That's right, folks. Hate to break the news to you. We're all going to die. You've got to have some sort of estate planning, even if it's basic. A simple will, durable powers of attorney, health directives, so somebody's going to know whether to pull the plug on you or leave it plugged in. I mean, folks, you can't go out here without things in writing. Now, at Tony Walker Financial, we'll make sure to set up the beneficiaries the way you want them. Most of the assets we're going to handle will avoid probate. So if you're worried about getting into all these fancy documents, living trust, you're hesitant on those, let's at least talk before you go to the attorney so we can lay out a game plan. Then the attorney, when they do the legal documents, is going to have a better feel for what they think you ought to put in place in terms of what goes in writing. The next one, this is a biggie, housing decisions. My gosh, we have so many clients over the age of 70, and this always comes up. Came up the other day in a meeting. Do you downsize now? What happens when a spouse dies? Are you going to buy a second home? You're going to sell that second home? We can help you think through the many repercussions of the housing decisions that will come your way, whether that's you and you're in your second half of life, or maybe you're an adult child concerned about your parents in their second half of life. We'll be happy to talk to you about that. And finally, planning for that darn tax tumor. Folks, I've often said the 401k, IRAs, 403bs, thrift savings plans, all those things are wonderful savings tools. They are absolutely the worst planning tool a saver could have. And regardless of how much you think you got in that plan, assuming it's a pre-tax account, you don't own all that money. Folks, Uncle Sam has a big portion of it. And assuming these tax laws, when they expire in 2025, go higher or revert back to 2017, which is what they're supposed to do, taxes will go up. So all you're doing is postponing the pain. My thoughts are deal with that tax tumor. And it'll be a little painful at first, but we can show you many alternatives that we use for our clients to help alleviate the pain and put more money in your pocket or leave more money to your heirs when you pass away.
Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed that video. If you'd like, check out these other clips. And be sure to hit that like button and that subscribe button for more videos.